Right, let's go.
I was ready.
You fancy a boy at school, he goes out with your best mate.
Yeah,
Oh,
you can make all the investments in the world.
actually, this is going to happen now.
Nice guy at the bar, and then he buys you a drink, and then some hottie walks in, and then you're ditched.
One of our favourite phrases is, if nothing changes, nothing changes.
Oh, I thought you was going to expect me to do the other half of it then. I was ready.
Oh,
I was
were you?
waiting for it.
No, could have done that, couldn't we? A little duo starting block thing.
Yeah.
So, if nothing changes, nothing changes. What does that mean?
Well, I suppose we're coming at it from the angle of you do all the stuff. Like, we listen to a lot of podcasts. We read a lot of books. We invest an obscene amount of money in mentors and...
Obscene. That's subjective, isn't it?
It is obscene. It's a decent whack. I don't mind it. It's just a lot.
Yeah, it's not obscene. I always think of Pretty Woman when I think of obscene. You know, where she's like, going to spend an obscene amount of years.
Yeah, it is an obscene amount of money.
Yeah, but obscene...
I don't feel like the word obscene has been used as many times as it has in the space of 30 seconds.
Yeah, but hold on. I've just knocked the mic. Obscene amount of money, but maybe an obscene amount of value.
Oh, yeah, no, I'm totally down for it. I have no issues spending the obscene amount of money.
Just obscene sounds really like extreme, doesn't it?
Yeah. But anyway, we do all of that stuff. And I'd say there's an element of magpieing because, again, we're only human.
Magpie.
Yeah, you know, the little shiny object thing.
Yeah.
You go around and you go, ooh.
Peck a mirror.
Peck a mirror? Not getting off to a good start. This episode, random things coming out. But, you know, we're all guilty of it. We all enjoy learning all this stuff. We all do it as a dog trainer. So I was like, ooh, I've just done that thing. Oh, I don't feel like I know enough about it. And then that person's putting a thing on. So, oh, I'm going to go and do that. And then, oh, and it just keeps going. So I suppose the point of that, nothing changes if nothing changes. Well, I suppose the first question is, what is it you are trying to achieve?
What needs changing?
Yeah, like
first of all?
what have you identified that you'd like a different outcome for? So in respect to our listeners, I guess it would be a case of I'm at a stage in business where something needs to change. It doesn't matter what stage of business, whether you're just starting out, whether you've been in it for a few years, whether you're already smashing the six-figure mark, but you feel like you could be doing better. What needs to change? Like, I need to do something. I'm at that point now. And the problem is, if you can make all the investments in the world. You can go and spend all your time consuming all the free stuff in the world as well. Like, there is enough information out there that technically you don't need to pay anybody for anything anymore because it's all technically out there already. However, if you are not willing to implement anything, well, nothing's going to change. Same for our dog owners. They're not going to change anything. Like, that dog's behaviour is not going to change unless something changes. And they are in control of that, not you. But you are in control of your business.
But Jo, I'm a business owner and I have tried changing. I've done this, I've done that. None of it's worked. Now what?
Oh, there's a few things off the back of that. And I know. So, in reality, if that's how you genuinely feel, then I would encourage you.
You're being too kind to me. I don't think you'd be this kind if
No,
I
I
was your
definitely
client.
wouldn't if it...
God.
Well, no. Actually, no. I had a conversation with a client the other week and it was of similar lines. So I'm in panic stations because I've not got any inquiries coming in and the money bit is a real issue now. I've tried everything and nothing's working. Okay, when you say you've tried everything, what do you mean? I've reached out to all my clients and I've posted on all the local Facebook groups. I don't know what more I can do. Like, no one's biting anything. Okay. Now, at face value, that sounds like you've done a lot, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah.
What do you think I asked?
How many Facebook groups?
Yes.
How many clients?
Yep, exactly that. Get the data. What's the actual data side of it? So in this particular response, it was 2 Facebook groups. How many posts have you done? 1 on each. Right, okay. And when we say all of our clients, how many? 5. And it was a text, not conversation. I'm like, oh, okay then. So already, contextually, you've got 2 very different scenarios now, haven't you? I've tried everything.
Catastrophize.
I'm in the social media group. I've spoken to all my clients, like emphasis again, like all. And then you look at the data and like, okay, doesn't quite marry up.
Yeah.
So what effort are we actually putting in to get a different outcome? And I think sometimes this is where these internal blockers come up and we try and keep ourselves safe again. So that annoying part of our brain that goes, oh, you can't possibly do anything that's a little bit uncomfortable. That's not safe. That's a bit risky. And the daft thing is we're all fucking behaviourists. Like we know how the brain works, but we're not applying it to ourselves.
We compartmentalise that into dog training though, don't we?
Yeah. Like we know exactly it's that small part of your brain trying to keep you safe. Going, oh, you don't know what's going to happen. What if you put 50 posts out? It's like, and again, I know I'm being a little bit nasty,
No,
but I'm not being nasty. It's true though. It is. It is
conversation.
necessary.
I feel like we've sort of danced around this topic a while since we've been doing this podcast, and today we wanted to really drill into it, didn't we? Because we hear that same scenario that you've just given an example of there, day in, day out.
Yep.
I've done all of the stuff. I've spoken to. Have you spoken to every single person you've ever met before that's got a dog? Like that would be the level of, if the desperation stations is there, this is the level we need to be at now, is to go like, how many people have got dogs? How many people do you know who know someone who's got a dog? Like, are you going to these places where dogs are going to be like every day? Like, think of all the places. And it's really interesting, isn't it? When you ask people, so think of all the places where dog owners hang out. Oh gosh. And then literally mind goes blank. Like I've done this so many times with people and they've gone, the park? That's one. Yeah. What about anywhere else? I don't know. I was like, think of all the other dog businesses out there. And they're like, oh, the vets. Yeah, that might be another one. Where else? And like, it's this keep going at them. And they're like, actually, I haven't even thought of going. Maybe I've gone to the vets or maybe I've gone to the park, but I'm not going to go and speak to anyone at the park. The park is there full of dog people.
Social media has ruined the art of conversation.
It has, hasn't it? And actually, I'd go as far as to say social media implies that there should be an art of conversation that's still
it's social.
It's not there.
It's not. It's become this place where, I don't know. And not to do social media disservice, actually, because I think it's an epic
We're lucky
tool.
to have social media. It's free in the most part.
It is the best form of advertising you will ever get. However, it is not the only form. And I'm not even going to say I think we forget. I genuinely just don't think people know.
No.
Because that art form has been lost of human to human connection. So as soon as you suggest, well, have you tried everything then? Could you possibly go and have a conversation with somebody in the park? Hannah Malloy, who we've interviewed on here before, Michael
Osetta, he did.
They've
stood on a rock and shouted at people, who wants dog advice?
Yeah.
Come over.
And you go, I can't possibly do that. I'm like, well, again, nicest possible way. How badly do you want your business to work? What are you willing to do? So, true story. A few weeks ago, we both agreed that we had taken our foot off the gas a little bit. And we went, shit, sales have tanked a bit this month. Kind of need to fix that ASAP. Got some hefty bills to pay. So for a weekend straight, I personally reached out to about 75 people. Cold calling. So these are people in our Facebook group. Who knows? You might even be listening to this now going, I was one of those people. But I was adding people as friends and I'm calling them. There's a little phone number, a little phone icon on Messenger when you're a friend, and you click it and it rings. Hello. Like, what? You can't do that. Why? Why can't I do that? What's the worst that's going to happen? They don't answer? Well, actually, this happens a lot as well, doesn't it? Certainly in sales. Right, okay. I've pulled my big pants up and I've gone, right, I'm going to call a person. And you dial the number and you're sitting there going, please don't answer. Please don't answer. Please don't answer. Why do you not want them to answer? You need the money. You want to be able to offer your service. Why do we do this?
Because we feel like we're putting a gun against their head.
Oh my God. I remember, my first proper job. I was 17. Actually, no. No, it was my first full-time proper job. I was working like early in that, but anyway. And it was in ad agency world, kind of the industry I was stuck in. And it was very, I say salesy. So we had clients that we were helping them place ad space for in newspapers, because it was in the day where you would advertise in print format. Like the internet didn't really exist at that point. So you had to ring the newspaper and say, can I please place a 1/4-page advert in the paper? And I remember the team leader at the time, she was sat right next to me and she goes, right, ring this newspaper up and say this thing. And I was like, oh my God, you want me to be on the phone in front of you as well? I can't even go and hide in a cupboard somewhere and just do it by myself. Like hide in my little, those booths where you used to have like the desk dividers up.
Yeah.
It was like that. And honestly, the panic, I could feel it like pumping through my body going, I've got to like pick up a phone. I've got to speak to somebody and I've got to do it in front of someone. And I don't know what I'm talking about. All that. But I'll tell you what, you make like 50 calls a day. You soon get over that.
Yeah.
You have to do it. You've got to start. And guess what? I ended up having some amazing relationships with people on the phone who I'd never met in real life. But I was calling them every week to place an advert in the paper.
But it's if you don't want to go that far and you don't want to cold call people, because not everybody is going to be comfortable with cold calling people.
You shouldn't be comfortable. You're not taught to do it.
No. But say if you don't want to do that, what could you... I mean, this isn't a lead generation episode really, but if you've got anyone who moves towards you in any way, so because we put a lot of free stuff out, sometimes we want a micro commitment, don't we? So we'll say, if you want to join our free training show that we do in our Facebook group, you can watch it live streamed through Facebook in the group, or you can join our Zoom room. If you want to join the Zoom room, comment some such word here, and then we'll message them the Zoom link. So what that does is it enables us to, like, they've moved towards us, so it's an in, and we've got a valid reason to contact them on Messenger. Once that show is ended, very often we go like, how did you find the show? And it's not from a place of like, I don't know, this isn't a sales conversation either, but it's just a genuine like, did you find that useful?
There it is.
Would you, what
but
else?
it's all that customer connection though, isn't it? It's that human to human connection, which ultimately, I think everything is always going to form part of sales when you're running a business.
Yeah,
because without it,
right.
you've got to, that's ultimately the purpose of the business. Like you need to be able to make sales. But again, it doesn't need to be in that
It doesn't have to be a sleazy way. Do you know what I was even thinking when you were talking before? I used to work in pubs for years and years. I worked on the bar. Can you imagine not asking somebody what they would like to drink if they move towards you at a bar?
It's so true.
Don't you think though? Someone comes towards you at a bar, like we're sat at this kind of desk thing now.
It does feel a bit bar-esque.
It's like a bar, isn't it? Right? So we're sat at this bar and there's a barman the other side. If we catch his eye or we move physically towards that bar, he is going to assume that we want to purchase something from him. Is he going to stand there and say, oh, I'm not sure if I should ask them because that's going to be a bit presumptuous? And what if they don't want anything? Well, why are they fucking there then?
I like this.
It's good though, isn't it? So therefore, like if someone moves towards you in some way, shape or form, asks your advice, attends a free training or a low cost thing or whatever it is, that person is putting their hand up at the bar and going like, I'd like to potentially
Have
buy
some
something.
information, please.
Yeah, I'm not necessarily committing right now, but I would say there's a good chance that they would commit if the right thing came along and you could offer the right thing to them. So like, why are we so scared? Is because it's £2.50 for half a beer, or is it because it's like, but then your bloody dog training services probably aren't much more than that anyway. So what's the problem? Like, and I get that it's easy for me to say that because I've been you and I've been in that position and I felt like it. But when we look at it in a context like at the pub, it's so obvious that's what you're there to do. Someone lands on your website, they're interested to know what it is you do and whether you can help them. So it's our job to give them a reason to want to find out more.
Ask the question.
Ask the question. How can I help you? What are you looking for? What do you need?
It's all this human to human stuff. And I think it comes back to the purpose of this whole episode of like, if you are genuinely not going to change a thing, then okay, fine. And that's cool. If you don't want anything to change, fine. I don't think you'd be here if you didn't. But if you don't, cool. Crack on.
Yeah.
Like, I'm happy. I'm not going to try and force you to do something you don't want to do. It's not worth it. But actually, I think the reality of that statement of nothing changes if nothing changes, then you have to expect some discomfort. I don't know anybody that can implement a change for the better and not go through any kind of discomfort. Even think about like going to the gym. Like if you want to lose some pounds, like I know come May, which is my deadline, it's my accountability deadline. May, when uni can fuck off for good, the gym is coming back into my life. I'm going to swap out that time with that time. I know I'm going to have to go through some pain to shift this tyre that I now have. It needs to go.
You need to come with me to paddle tennis.
Maybe.
Oh, actually, this is going to happen now.
Okay.
I've got a goal in my head now. May, right, we're going to play tennis.
We'll do it. But you know what I mean? I'm not just suddenly going to go, oh, I'd like to lose that tyre. But I don't want to do anything about it.
I'll take a pill.
Yeah, like give me a quick fix.
There is that option.
Give me a quick fix. But it's still not going to do anything,
No, it's not really going to do it, is it?
And arguably, I still got to take the bloody pill. I still have to buy it. I still have to actually do something.
Yeah.
So, I'm never going to lose that if I don't change something. And I think that's a really nice example of what are you willing to change as well. So for me, I know full well if I stopped eating, well, actually, if I started eating better and stopped snacking, I'd probably lose some of that weight anyway.
Having just eaten a cookie.
Yes. I needed some sugar to continue this episode. Shoot me,
That's
will
the
you?
justification for the cookie. Ryan is looking at us.
I
like,
know,
oh
he's got
God.
his little laughy head on over in the corner again. So if you're aware of the things that you're doing and you also know the things that you're not, like, again, it's that ownership of knowing yourself. Like, even taking it back to that phone call bit, you and I behave very differently around the phone calls. Like, I have pushed myself. I've got too many years experience in phone call stuff for it to be an issue to me now. But as I started in that place, I was like, I do not want to do this. This is beyond comfortable. I do not like it. The whole physical stress was showing, like stress rash on my chest, shaking, like all of it. But I pushed through it because I wanted it enough.
And you want to help.
Help? Like that's it. It's like if I can
the
talk
main
to
driver.
someone, then I'm good with talking to someone. And it is like a muscle that if you don't practice it enough, you just, it's not going to work. You've got to keep doing the work. So I know now I don't make half as many phone calls that I used to because actually our audience has changed. Dog owners love being on the phone. And I'd pick up the phone several times a day to dog owners, trying to find out more about them. You lot, you don't like it. You don't answer my calls.
Suspicious.
But you do answer my video notes and my voice notes. So, okay, I'll stick with that.
Yeah.
So actually, my telephone skill set has decreased just because I don't do it as often.
But can we also broach the subject of knockbacks? because I think getting resilient to
The rejection.
no's. Yeah. Like, because I think this is the thing, isn't it? It's that fear of rejection. When you drill down, and certainly for me, I would say, if you drill down, it's what if someone says no?
Out of curiosity, I think I've asked you this before. I'm going to do it on this. What's the difference between somebody saying no to you on a phone call versus a text message?
I think it's the pressure of it.
Pressure.
Yeah, I like because they're there and you've got to come up with an answer back straight away. And I think it must be that. I don't know 100%.
What would you say if they just said no to you in person? Flash on the phone.
No one.
Earl.
In real life. Well, I totally appreciate that decision.
Yeah, it's like, if it's a no, it's a no.
Yeah. It's not the end of the world, but it's almost like a little bit of catastrophizing in your brain. And so let's say that you get that knockback and you feel horrendous. Probably don't feel horrendous for that long, but you might for a few seconds.
Yeah.
Then
Again,
what?
you get resilient to it.
Yeah,
like
then what? What do you do?
You have to move on.
Do you just go, that's never going to work ever again? Because that is the mentality of lots of things, isn't it? So, you know, when people say, I've tried that, I've tried that, I've tried everything, and the everything word sounds really long. So therefore that must mean all the people in the world and all the tactics in the world don't work. But like, then where do we, like if we stick at that and we go, nothing works, what then?
I think it's that looking at yourself again and going, am I using it as that excuse?
Yeah.
Because
it validates the fear around
and maybe
it.
you don't really know the reason because we're not going there enough.
Yeah, probably.
But we know it enough. We know it's a blocker enough to go, it's just not working. Like, I don't enjoy it. It makes me feel icky and horrible for whatever reason. I don't like it. It feels uncomfortable. So, and it's not working. So therefore, I'm just going to slink back into my safety net. However, the downside is your safety net is only a safety net if it's actually working. But again, think about the reason you've invested, or think about the reason you're choosing to listen to the podcast. Think about the reason you've gone and bought a book. Think about all the things like, do you know what I mean? Like if you're investing because you want something to change or you want more for yourself, then something within you is crying out to go, let me be uncomfortable so I can get to that space.
Yeah, and it is all those moves towards it, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because we know have gotten to know a lot of you guys that are listening in, especially if you're in our Facebook group, because we see names pop up, the familiar names. Oh, that's that person again. That's that person again. Oh, they've signed up for that thing now. Or they've bought the book now. Oh, they're watching they're signed up for the pod classes, maybe the membership now. So like there's lots and lots of pull towards that person. So all those little micro commitments are going to add up to something bigger potentially one day. And it's not our job to push anyone into doing anything they don't want to do. That is never.
You can't even push anybody in.
You can't push someone for a 10 quid service. If you don't want to spend 7 quid on a Starbucks, which we're likely to go to at lunchtime after this episode. You're not going to do it. Like, if I try to get my mum, for example, to spend 7 quid on a Starbucks coffee, she's likely to just no, she's not going to do it. And I know your parents are the same, like likely to go to Greg's and spend £1 on a coffee. That's what she'd rather do. So I'm not going to change her, and I don't expect to either. Like, that's her choice. But it's almost getting resilient to these. So like, for example, someone says no. You've voice noted them, you've rang them, you've done a big girl pant thing, and they've said no, and you've gone, oh, fuck, that didn't work. What about if you did it again? And what about if you did it again? And what about if you did it 4 or 5 times and then someone said yes? Could we spin that and look at it like variable reinforcement, like in dog training?
No could about it, it is.
But I say could because I don't think people would look at it in the same way. So when I used to have my 80 quid classes. Not everybody that inquired would buy one.
No.
But I never had the same, I almost didn't feel that same offence. Like if somebody did buy it, because I was like, oh, well, there's loads of other people doing the same thing. And I think it's because of that. I think it's because there's like a sea of choice of everybody around the same price point, everybody doing a similar thing, that I didn't really see it as like offensive to me. I was just like, well, they've probably seen somebody else doing it. Whereas I think with a higher ticket thing, for example, if we're going down that route of a high ticket thing, are we taking offence because it's more money? Potentially. Could be that, couldn't it?
Don't know. I'm not going to lie. I struggle with this bit because I genuinely don't think I actually take offence at it, and I don't know if I ever did. And arguably, that could just be down to my experiences of being thrown in agency world, which is,
I would say it probably is, because I think most people would take offence to it.
Next level. Like, if anybody has ever known anyone, or if you have worked in agency world, then it's a whole other beast in itself. So I don't know, because obviously, like, you'd get rejected in those kind of places, and rejection comes up in life anyway, like even when you're like dating.
Yeah.
I had a lot of rejection in the love area, actually. let's go down that bit. Well, it's not, but but you still get it, don't you? It doesn't matter in what area.
You fancy a boy at school, he goes out with your best mate.
Yeah.
Oh,
like,
great.
Fine. Or like a nice guy at the bar, and then he buys you a drink, and then some hottie walks in, and then you're ditched like an old coaster.
Yeah. An old coaster.
It just like tossed a beer stained on there. But you get
soggy coaster.
Soggy coaster. It's a good image, isn't it?
Yeah, I've got that in my head now. Just aside like an old sock.
Yeah. So I think rejection comes into play on. I don't think it matters where. Like, it comes up all the time. I got rejected by my son the other day. I tried to give him a hug, and he was tired and miserable, and I got a whack around the face instead. I'm like, oh God, I just wanted a hug because I've missed you. I haven't seen you in a few days.
But are you going to turn around and say, well, that's it then? I'm not doing anything
I'm not going to give you a
again.
hug ever again. Like, barred.
But it's that extreme reaction sometimes to it, in going like, instead of trying again, trying to get a bit resilient to it, and then maybe we get a success and we can go, yes, that worked. It's almost immediately seeing the negativity towards it. And we haven't even touched on the instant results that people expect these days, maybe through social media, maybe through I think digital age. Everything happens really fast. Everything happens really quick.
Oh, like what? So if you put a post out, you expect to sell off the back of it. Yeah.
Yeah, there's that. And that's why there's less chance someone's going to keep trying, because they are expecting that instant gratification that doesn't come. Then they have a bit of uncomfortableness about it, and they're like, that paired with that equals a double whammy of why it doesn't work. No, not doing that.
Yeah. Do you know what? I think a lot of this as well comes down to, like, again, thinking about the theme of it, like if we're doing something, so we're investing our time, energy and or money into something. So we know theoretically you're going to have to do something. It's not just going to click your fingers and it's done. But I wonder what's the motivation behind wanting to change?
Other
And
people?
is the motivation high enough? Like,
It
is
could
the
be other people
drive
telling
there?
you that you could do better.
Yeah.
You could be better, or you want to be better, but you don't really know how. You've got a lack of confidence in it.
And I say that because I know, and I'm only speaking on behalf of like you and me at the moment, I know wholeheartedly that we will literally do anything to ensure that this business continues on this growth trajectory because of the impact it's having.
Yeah.
Like, that determination and that drive almost supersedes the money bit, but the money bit's important, as we've mentioned in previous episodes, because you need both. So that, because that purpose is so right, and it's like that proper North Star thing that we've talked about before, we're happy to sit in the uncomfortable because we can see the outcome.
Don't want
from
anything
doing
getting in
that.
the way of it, do you?
Yeah. It's almost like we're willing to go through the discomfort. We're willing to feel weird and horrible and learn new skills and put ourselves out there in order to get the outcome, because we can see it more.
Yeah.
And this is where I question,
what's the motivation?
yeah, like, what is the motivation? Because again, we all do it. We all listen to podcasts. We all read books. We all buy courses that we don't do. Like, we're all guilty of that, ourselves included.
Yeah.
But actually, what are you actually paying attention to? Because those ones will indicate what it is you're you're really wanting to do and what you're willing to push through. Because realistically, if you are in a comfort zone, then you're not going to do anything. So it's a good question to ask, actually. And I ask this of everybody that we work with. On a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being you are so motivated and driven and you absolutely fucking love what you do and you want to keep getting better at that craft or like streamline it or whatever it may be. And 1 is it couldn't be further away from that. Like you hate it, you're genuinely thinking about giving it up. You maybe want to go and get a proper job and leave it completely. Where are you? For me, the danger zone is 7. Somebody says to me they're at a 7. I'm like, I would not expect to see any output from someone who's at a 7. Because the likelihood is the pain's not high enough for you to want to do anything different. And the drive and purpose isn't there to want to do anything different. And that doesn't mean it's a bad thing. It's just an awareness. I realised I was at a 7 in my dog training company prior to us merging it. Because I could have pushed it. I had the skill set, I had the knowledge to push it to multi-6 figures. I didn't have the drive. I didn't have the same determination as I've got with CBA. Like CBA was always bubbling under the surface. That's what I was waiting for. Waiting for the right time, the right person, the right, like, do you know what I mean? Like everything just aligned for CBA to kickstart. And I never grew the dog business to the scale I had the capability to do it. And for years I kicked myself over that. Why aren't I doing it? Why aren't I doing it? It's because I didn't want it, because I was at a 7. I was making decent money. I had staff that, I was sitting pretty. I didn't do a fat lot.
You were sitting very pretty when I met you.
Yeah. I was like, I don't do anything. I pick and choose the clients that I want to see. If I want to work 1 day a week and I can get paid $5,000 a month because I've got staff delivering the business, which they're getting paid for like really well, I'm happy and clients are happy. I'm good.
Someone could say to you now, do you wish you ever just had that again?
No.
What would you say?
No, because I wasn't fulfilled with it. You know that. I say that to you.
I know that. I know the answer.
I was not fulfilled in that business at all. I mean, I was at a 7. I was comfortable. I'm quite happy. Like that's the goal, to get the dog training business back to that, because I like being a business owner. That's my motivation. And I think sometimes, and maybe it's something that dog trainers don't necessarily think of, I don't think you necessarily always have to have the passion for the dogs.
Well, it's about the people, really.
Yeah. But not even that. Like, if you genuinely want a business that works, why can't that be in the dog training realm?
Well, there is that. It's quite a rare thing, but
yeah. But there are people out there.
Yeah, you can absolutely.
So I loved the dog side of it. How I got into it, like I genuinely loved learning the psychology and the behaviour of it. But I loved owning the business more and making the business work and seeing the results. But that didn't necessarily mean that I had to be the one doing the dog delivery. And I think sometimes if you're in this industry for a while, you may get to that point. You may go, do you know what? I've kind of like served my time. I don't want to step away from it, but I just don't want to be in the thick of it anymore.
And I think a savvy owner would say that's a natural progression.
Yeah.
A business owner, I mean,
yeah.
would actually go, that's it. I've started this thing and I'm growing it. I don't need to be in there every day doing all the stuff. I need to be working in it.
And that could be for various reasons. It could genuinely be you're getting older and you just want to spend your time differently and you're knackered. It could be that actually you've got a health condition that's just suddenly come on, or, got things like what I've got going on in my life. Suddenly family commitments change.
Or you could actually just see it that you can reach more people by bringing more people on board and you actually do take a step back because ultimately this is a bit what we did the previous episode on actually is the more that you look after yourself and give yourself what you need and obviously the clients what they need, but the more you do that, you can then take a step back and serve more people and do it in a slightly different way. And the way we look at CBA now is, I suppose when we started CBA, I had a massive passion for doing that business still. However, I didn't know what I didn't know yet. And I didn't know how I'd feel about CBA. And now I know how I feel about CBA. I wouldn't want to go back to just doing that again. But like, again, might be that business owner has just gone, this is my new purpose now. And I don't need to do that thing anymore because I can reach more people, and we can through CBA now. Yeah. So we're kind of doing our work through other people, if that makes sense.
Yeah. That's it. And I think people get really hung up on the business stuff and thinking that you're stuck in it. You're never stuck.
No, it can change anything you want to change.
You're never stuck. You can totally do whatever you want. And it's my belief, and this is something that I didn't do in the dog training business, which was naive of me, but it's because I was genuinely at that 7 because I was comfortable. I was like, you know what, I've got it to such a point now that it's easy money coming in. Clients are really happy. Staff are happy. It's good. And because the motivation wasn't there to want to do any more, I was like, I'm not. But again, I knew I had this business in me. I didn't know what it was at that point, but I knew it was there. It's like itching away on the inside. But now we're looking at it that we're going to revisit that dog training business and revamp it so that we can build it to a stage that we're not in the delivery. And should we ever want to sell it, it becomes a sellable service. Because why shouldn't it be? Pour your heart and soul into it, get it operating right, make it so somebody can buy it. So you're not just wasting all that time. So there's ways and means around everything. And again, you may not have these massive, I was going to say like delusions of grandeur. I don't think they're
illusions.
Illusions
of grandeur.
Illusion. Don't know. That's a weird word. Illusion.
Well, when you say it like that, it sounds weird.
I don't like it.
Oh my God, Joe. You do make up certain words, don't you?
Well.
Yeah, Ryan's sniggering in the background. He knows exactly.
But we do have like big grandeur. I can't even say it now. Fuck it off. Illusions of grandeur. We have got that. We want the big stuff. But again, ultimately, it doesn't matter what you want. But the fact is, if you're going around and you're listening to books, whether it's self-development, personal development, business, you're starting to hang out in different, I mean, like you are clearly making these little micro commitments to the universe to say, I want more. You may not know what it is yet.
No.
And that's okay.
And it's going to be bloody scary.
It will be scary.
Because
you have to do things. You have to do things that you don't know.
Yeah.
And your brain will try and keep you safe because it doesn't know what it doesn't know.
No. But I think it is that pull, that North Star that you were talking about earlier is the thing. If that is strong enough, the light is shining strong enough for you, it's going to sound a bit woo, but it is, you will push.
Yeah, you will do whatever it takes. Like me calling those like 75 odd people the other week. I wasn't comfortable doing it. It still feels a bit weird. But again, that's the society thing that we're just all kind of taught now, like, who picks up the phone? Like, just take away all human connection, but that's another story. But I did it because the driver was there. So I had to step into the uncomfortable because I was already in the uncomfortable because we didn't have enough cash in the bank. Like, true story.
Yeah.
So how can I speak to people to see if the product and service that we've got is genuinely going to help them? Because if it's not, okay, fine, thank you, bye.
And I think this is the other thing about when we're doing something like this is it's always done with integrity. And if we genuinely had that conversation with somebody and they were like, it doesn't sound like that's what I need, that's absolutely fine. And hopefully we would recognise that before they've even said it.
Oh, yeah.
Like we would have said it for them usually. But still, like, we're not going to do it and force anyone to do anything they don't want to do. And it's not what we're about. And anyone that knows us well knows
with
that.
integrity and an ethical mindset that you're not going to get somebody to do what they don't want to do. If they don't need it, don't sell it to them.
No.
But you can have a conversation. And it might be that you go, oh, do you know, I've just planted a little seed that they might go, do you know, I've been thinking about that. It's not the right time. Okay, fine. We're in your world now. Like, you know who we are.
Yeah.
And that's fine. All you can do. But you have to keep stepping out of that comfort zone if you genuinely want something to change. So I would say, have a little check-in with yourself. Have a look at where you're spending your time at the moment. If you're finding yourself listening to like businessy style podcasts, then I would hazard a guess that you want something more from your business.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be a massive scale. It absolutely can be, and I'd love it. But even if it feels small and you go, actually, I just kind of want to drop a Thursday night, but it feels scary to drop that Thursday night. Or I want to drop 2 days of dog walking so I can focus on training more. Or
Test it.
like
See what
whatever it
happens.
is. Like you are telling yourself that you need to do it. So jump. Jump, jump. Don't know what I was going with that.
It's not the song either.
It's not the song.
Jump for my
That's
love.
it.
Jump it. Love Actually. On that note, thank you guys for listening.